You know that feeling when you feel so stuck and like there's no light at the end of the tunnel? I mean, of course you do. You clicked on this video, so you know how that feels. Well, I'm here to tell you that you are not alone. I actually know the feeling all too well because just a few months ago, I was in the same exact spot. I want to share with you some things that I did that have truly helped me be in a way better place now. And I know that these things will help you start to get out of that funk as well. So stick around and we'll get right into these tips. Okay, so the first thing you'll want to do is really take a look at your current situation and assess where you currently are. It's impossible for you to try to move into a direction or move into something new without truly taking a look at where you are right now. It's the same thing as when you get in your car and you're ready to go somewhere. Let's say you're going to the beach, right? In order for you to get to the beach, you first have to start with your current location. And until you know how you're doing currently, you're not going to be able to go where you need to go. And I know sometimes it's confusing to really pinpoint the things that are bothering you, but something that I've done that has really helped me is to journal or to speak to someone that I really trust and just kind of air out my feelings. Just talk about the things that you feel like are holding you back right now, or some of the things that you're not too excited or happy about, and that's a perfect place to start. Once you start talking about it, you'll start to truly uncover where these feelings are coming from. And by the way, the feelings that you currently have are very valid and real, and you're not crazy for feeling them. A lot of the times, feelings are kind of a little red flag that goes up to let us know that something is wrong and for us to take better attention and really dig into the culprit of those feelings. Another big thing that I've learned about feelings is that if you don't address them and you tend to just shove them down, over time, there's not going to be a place for you to continue to shove your feelings into, because it's going to be completely at its brim and it'll start to overflow. And that's usually where a breakdown happens. Maybe you're experiencing that now, maybe you haven't gotten to that point. But either way, that continual practice of shoving your feelings down is not serving you at all. It's not until you actually allow yourself to feel your feelings that you will be able to move on from them. And I know that kind of sounds counterproductive, because whenever we have negative feelings or thoughts, we just want to dismiss them, not pay any attention, and move on to something positive. But that's not actually taking care of the issue at hand. So whenever you have these feelings of like when you're feeling stuck, or you feel like things aren't going your way, or whatever it may be, it's so important to address them and just allow yourself to really sit in the feeling and start to think about where it's coming from. And also do this without any judgment to yourself. It's okay for you to let your thoughts kind of run wild for a little bit so that you can get to the bottom of where all of these emotions are coming from. And believe me, I don't have this all figured out, but I'm speaking from recent experience. As many people in 2021, I lost my grandmother, in addition to two other influential people in my life. And I never gave myself the time or space to properly grieve their passing. These are the first major losses that I have in my life. I hadn't really dealt with grief when it comes to someone so close to me. But I realized that losing these people in my life, in addition to me feeling kind of stuck at work, there was just so many different things that I was not addressing. And I was just going through my day-to-day life, doing the things that I was supposed to do, worrying my mind with other things so that I didn't have to address these losses that I have had in my life, and also the question of my overall purpose in life. And it kind of came to a point where I had a breakdown. I had been spending a lot of time by myself. My husband was away on a work trip. And now I realize that, when you actually give yourself the space to be alone, that's when you're kind of forced to confront your emotions and your thoughts. And it can be a pretty scary place to be. in the beginning. However, I had these like 4 days to myself where I was really just contemplating my whole life existence. Basically, I was trying to figure out where I wanted to go in life. I knew that the job that I was in, like, it wasn't my forever job. I knew that for a really long time I had this big desire to be self-employed, to be an entrepreneur, and I knew that things just did not feel good in the current state that I was in. So I had a conversation with my husband. I kind of expressed to him how I felt. I aired it out. I allowed myself to speak openly about it, and he listened, and that was definitely helpful. But nothing had really been resolved yet. I remember so vividly, this was, I believe, a Tuesday. We had this conversation. He had just gotten back from his work trip. Then the following day, I go into work. A few hours in, I get this email from our leadership. And it says in the email that it just seemed like everything had lined up to where it was like, okay, Helen, you've been talking about quitting your job and starting your own business for a long time, and you haven't done anything about it yet. So I felt like it was God saying, okay, I'm kind of forcing you into this decision now since you won't make it for yourself. This was in October of 2021, so late October. I get this news. I kind of sit on it for a week, and then I have the conversation with my manager, and I tell her that ultimately, I'm making the decision to leave. I continued to work until December the 10th, and I was just gonna finish out my time there and then figure out what was gonna come next. That month and a half-ish time period between me making the decision of quitting my job and then actually leaving was so crazy, and mentally, it just really took a toll, I feel like, on me mentally, and so much anxiety. And even though I knew I was making the right decision, I just still had so much doubt, and I was just so scared if whether or not my husband and I were going to be okay financially. I was walking away from a pretty significant salary, and to anyone else that would look absolutely crazy, but for me, it felt like it was an opportunity for me to finally go after my dreams. But anyways, I say all of this and I share all of this just to reiterate how important and powerful it can be to truly open up about how you're feeling in your current circumstances, and just kind of having that cry for help and a cry for change, because I felt like it was almost immediate from the moment that I had that conversation with my husband, just saying oh my gosh, I need a change. So the next day, me walking in to, just a completely different scenario at work, I was just like, wow, how is it that things just played out this way? This is crazy. And I truly feel like it was in God's plan for things to work out that way. And by me opening up, I allowed God to come in and for him to take the necessary steps for things to start to unfold the way that are according to his plan. So I encourage you to do the same thing. Really start to assess and start to dig deep within you and identify the things that are draining you, so that you know at least where you're starting and what the things are that you need to work on to get you where you want to go. Now that you've talked about it and that it's in the open, I feel like that is the first step for you to actually start healing. I started to really look within myself, and I really asked God to start to uncover things that I needed to change about myself. For a long time, I thought that I was always the innocent one, or it was everything else around me needed to change. It wasn't that I needed to change, but slowly God started revealing to me that actually, no, Helen, there are some things about you that you could definitely work on improving. And for the first time, I felt like I was actually open to changing, because I knew that I had dreams, and I knew that in order for me to become the person that was going to achieve those dreams, I needed to start with myself, and I needed to evolve as a person and become the best version of myself. By no means is it an easy thing. It gets harder before it gets better. There comes a point where you have a lot of just highs and lows. One day you feel like you're doing amazing and you're on the right track and all this stuff. And then the next day, or even the same day later on, you feel like, man, I'm so far away from where I want to go or from where I want to be. But just the fact that you're willing to put in the work to make a change, I think speaks volumes, and you're already setting yourself up for success. It's all about having the right attitude in anything that you do. And I truly felt like, I can say this now, now that I feel that I'm on the other side of like the worst part of it, I'm just so proud of myself for how far that I've come in such a, I would say, short period of time. And I felt like the biggest change didn't come until I really opened myself up to having a relationship with God. Once I finally stopped putting so much pressure on myself and just put like all my faith in God, knowing that He was going to provide, I stopped worrying about the money. I stopped worrying about having to like reach crazy results in the beginning, and I just started placing my focus on really building that relationship with God and just getting to know Him better. I'm just like incredibly grateful that God has like opened up this space for me to really like get to know Him better, for us to like build this relationship. And I feel like because I've been focusing on that as my foundation, I feel like I am in such a better place than what I was just a few months ago. I had so much anxiety. I had put so much pressure on myself that I needed to perform and all this, but like God has been so good and so faithful. Like He's been providing for us financially. Jose has his real estate business that he started, and he's been doing so well. And I'm just so grateful. Before, a lot of that anxiety came from somewhat of like an identity crisis, where I felt like I identified so heavily with what I did for work. Like, I don't have to find my value in the things that I do. It's like God already sees value in me, and He loves me just for the person that I am, for the person that He created me to be. Like, I truly feel His love and His mercy just like all around me. I truly feel like I have a good foundation now to build my life on, my business on. I'm sharing all of this because I know that He wants to do the same for you. I know that you currently find yourself in a place where you feel stuck. You might feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, but just want to really encourage you and let you know that God is working in your life as well, and He has a plan for you. And I just know that He has such amazing things in store for you, and you shouldn't give up now. The darkest moments in our life are usually the points right before a breakthrough. I've been feeling that a lot lately. I'm like, okay, I just went through this period where I felt just like completely wrecked. But I really feel like now that things have gotten so bad, it's like, okay, they can only get better from here. And I know that the same thing will play out for you. I know that you feel stuck. I know that it seems like it can't get better, but I promise you that it will. You are strong, you're capable, and God is with you. God is by your side. But I think it really starts with you being honest with yourself, being honest with where you're at with your relationship with God as well. That, I think, is the basis of everything. And it's not until we fix that primary relationship that things will really start to move in the right direction. If you made it this far, I thank you so much for sticking around. I hope that this video was encouraging. I don't share any of this to brag or anything like that. I just know how it can feel where you feel alone sometimes. And I just want to say, if God was able to bring me through it, He is definitely able to do the same thing for you in your life. And I by no means have all the answers. I'm still figuring things out. You know, I'm human, I make mistakes. But if you're interested in growing together, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel, and we'll do just that. We'll continue to grow together. I'll see you in the next video.